On this edition, I'm going to do my UFC 146 main card prediction, so I'm just going to hop right into it. UFC 146 is a stack card from top to bottom. And, I mean, the prelim fights alone, I mean, some of these fights could very well headline or be very good fights on UFC on FX, UFC on Fox, UFC on Fuel TV. They're very good fights. So, top to bottom, this is a very good card. And I would love to talk about the prelims, but I would just like to do my predictions on the main card fights, all the heavyweight fights. And I'm just going to stack up what both fighters bring to the table and then just do my very quick prediction. So I'm going to start with the first fight. It's Stefan Struve versus Lavar Johnson. Obviously, Lavar Johnson filling in short notice. And this fight, this fight will be finished. No doubt about it. And this is exactly how it's going to happen. Either Stefan Struve is going to win this fight via submission, or Lavar Johnson's going to win this fight via knockout. Now, Lavar Johnson, very good chin, very good striking, lacking a ground game. It's been exposed. Even Pat Barry exposed his ground game, almost submitted him on the ground. But Lavar Johnson's stand-up is exceptional. I mean, he's very aggressive. He's got dynamite in his hands. And definitely, this is a big test for him in this department, and how he could fend off Stefan Struve's attempt at taking him down, and submission attempts will be a big factor. So I think range will be a big factor as well. He's got to fight this one smart, but he's also got to be aggressive and not let Stefan Struve get comfortable. Now, Stefan Struve wins a majority of his fight, or has won a majority of his fights via submission. He's a very skilled Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He's a very formidable kickboxing background as well. But where I see this one coming down to is that there's no doubt that Stefan Struve is the favorite in this fight. He's more balanced than Lavar Johnson. He has a very good ground game. But I think the factor here is that Stefan Struve isn't what we would call a takedown expert. He is not known for shooting in and securing takedowns. He gets very comfortable with his reach. And I really, if he's going to come out and be successful against Lavar Johnson, he's got to pin him up. He's got to get him down to the ground. I just personally don't see it. I definitely see Stefan Struve being the favorite, but I'm going to go with the underdog in this one. I'm going to say Lavar Johnson wins this one by knockout. Stefan Struve has a very questionable chin. He's been knocked out 4 times in his career, and I definitely see Lavar Johnson connecting with the strike and winning this fight via knockout. But he's got to do it early. He cannot let Stefan Struve get comfortable. And ideally, a good fight for Lavar Johnson moving forward. Shane Carwin's coming off of injury. He's been out for a long time. Shane Carwin versus Lavar Johnson would be an absolutely incredible fight. The next fight on the card is Stipe Miocic versus Shane del Rosario. This could very well be fight of the night. You have 2 very skilled strikers with formidable ground games and very good chins. These guys are both very tough, and they're both young up-and-coming guys in the heavyweight division. So this should be a very exciting fight to decide really who's the young up-and-coming prospect in the heavyweight division. They're both very good, but only one is going to get their hand raised at the end of the night. So Stipe Miocic, college wrestling, Golden Gloves boxing champion. Shane del Rosario, Muay Thai champion, kickboxing background, blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And both guys have good chins. I mean, Miocic's never been finished, and I believe del Rosario was finished once, and that was in, I believe it was a kickboxing fight. It was either kickboxing or Muay Thai. He's been finished once, and it was due to knockout. But where I see this one coming down to, I don't see Shane del Rosario using his Muay Thai and getting Miocic in the clinch simply because of Miocic's good wrestling ability. And where I see it coming down to is that Miocic is a chin tester, most definitely. He knocked out DeVries. DeVries has never been knocked out before, and obviously Miocic was the guy to do so. I see Miocic getting inside Shane del Rosario's reach. I don't see this one finishing in the first round. There's no way that's even possible. Del Rosario has a good chin, but where I see it coming down to, I see del Rosario getting inside of, not del Rosario, I see Miocic getting inside of del Rosario's reach. I see him, these strikes adding up, and I see Miocic winning this fight via knockout and moving forward and being one of the biggest up-and-coming prospects in the division. And del Rosario will land on his feet. Still a very good fighter, but I just see Miocic coming out on top. I will take boxing any day over dynamic striking. That's just my personal opinion on particular fights. So the next fight is Roy Nelson versus Dave Herman. Dave Herman's filling in for Gabriel Gonzaga. But Dave Herman, obviously I'm an Indiana University alum, and Dave Herman wrestled at Indiana University. I'm a big supporter, but after his Stefan Struve loss, I mean, really, some holes in his game were definitely exposed. And he's a good wrestler. He's got very good striking. The guy always brings the fight. Very aggressive, definitely power in his hands. He knows how to finish fights. And then you have Roy Nelson. I mean, Roy Nelson's starting to take his conditioning and his weight very seriously. The guy's got absolute power in his right hand. He's got some of the most underrated ground game. He's got a very underrated ground game, if not in all of MMA. The guy is a very skilled jiu-jitsu practitioner, and he's good in grappling. And what I see this one coming down to is that, you know, Dave Herman, he could very well beat Roy Nelson. People are saying he might knock out Roy Nelson. That's absolutely crazy. Roy Nelson has one of the best chins in all of MMA. There's just the guy continues to take shots and he continues to come right back after you. People don't have answers for Roy Nelson. You have to take this one to decision. You have to try and edge out a decision against Roy Nelson. I don't see Dave Herman doing that, especially after his last fight with Stefan Struve. I see Roy Nelson exposing Dave Herman. Even though Dave Herman is a wrestler, Roy Nelson is the much better grappler in this fight. I see him getting Dave Herman down to the ground and winning this fight via TKO on the ground due to ground and pound. I just see him wedging his arm, I see him beating him down, and I see him winning this fight via TKO. And Roy Nelson will get back on a streak of putting together some wins. So that's why I have in regards to that fight. The next fight is Antonio Bigfoot Silva versus Cain Velasquez. I've already done a video on this, so I'll be quick with this one. The fact that Cain Velasquez is the former heavyweight champion, and he's facing a loser, the loser of the quarterfinals fight against Daniel Cormier in unimpressive fashion. I want to say it's a slap in the face, but I just feel that I know the heavyweight division was in a bind. There's not much to choose from. There's no doubting that Bigfoot Silva is a top 10 heavyweight, but I just didn't see this matchup at all. But what it comes down to is that Cain Velasquez is much faster than Bigfoot Silva. Bigfoot Silva definitely has power in his hands. He knows how to finish fights. He's very good at fighting his size. He imposes his will on people, but I don't see him getting Cain Velasquez down to the ground. There's no way he's going to out-wrestle the guy or out-grapple the guy. Cain Velasquez is one of the best wrestlers in the heavyweight division, and Cain Velasquez is fast, and he's got very deceiving knockout power. How I see Cain Velasquez winning this fight is just, Bigfoot Silva can win this fight, but he's got to connect. He is not fast enough to connect with Cain Velasquez. I see Cain Velasquez using his speed, using his wrestling. He could either finish this fight standing up or on the ground. I see him winning this fight via TKO and inching one step closer to getting his belt back. And that's how I regard that. Cain Velasquez beating Antonio Bigfoot Silva via TKO. And now the main event of the main card is Junior Dos Santos, the champion of the heavyweight division, versus Frank Mir. Now, this one could go either way. Well, actually, everybody's favoring Junior Dos Santos, and there's no doubt about it. Frank Mir has earned a title shot, but Junior Dos Santos is just, he's been on a roll. The guy, really, nobody's had an answer for Junior Dos Santos. You can't take the guy down because of his takedown defense, and he's got some of the best boxing in the heavyweight division. Incredible speed, incredible. He's just got great explosiveness, and it's his footwork, it's his hand speed, and it's his knockout power. All of them complement each other well, and he's not easy to get on the ground. And Frank Mir, he's got very formidable boxing. He's got a Kempo karate background. He's a black belt in that. But I think Frank Mir definitely solidified one of the better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in MMA after submitting Big Nog. If this fight gets to the ground, there's no doubt about Frank Mir will win this fight by submission. But I don't see Frank Mir being fast enough to get a hold of Junior Dos Santos. I see Junior Dos Santos using his movement, using the octagon very well, staying away from Frank Mir's reach, but finding that one spot. He's going to test his range out, and then in the blink of an eye, Junior Dos Santos is going to land his shot. But I don't see him knocking out Frank Mir. Not a KO, but I see him rocking Frank Mir, and I see him finishing this fight and winning it via TKO. And Junior Dos Santos will keep his belt, and we'll find out his next opponent for his next title defense. So I'm going to take Junior Dos Santos via TKO. I'm going to take Cain Velasquez via TKO. I'm going to take Roy Nelson via TKO. I'm going to take Miocic via knockout, and I'm going to take Lavar Johnson via knockout. Now, the fact that I'm saying all these fights will finish, what are the odds that it will actually happen? But let's face it, it's a heavyweight fight. It's an all heavyweight main card. The possibilities of all these fights finishing, well, I like my odds. So those are my main card predictions, and hopefully everybody enjoys the fights come Saturday. And that's what I have for this edition. This is Kyle Delaney signing off. I'm out of here.